He is running an assassination business. There's enough evidence here to put him away for 10 lifetimes.
What?
This whole school is a front. Now we've got the evidence, all we have to do is stroll out of here.
Oh, shoot.
Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and immediately discuss it. I'm Tom. I'm here with Brittany and Eric tonight.
Hello.
How's it going?
Great. Pretty fantastically.
That's good. I'm glad. So we watched the movie Expect No Mercy, 1995, starring Billy Blanks, Mr. Tybo.
Alternate title on YouTube, Tybo Battle in Cyberspace.
And that makes perfect sense. And this week was Eric's pick, so why don't you just say why you picked it.
Well, this week there's a new Mortal Kombat coming out. Very big fan of the Mortal Kombat series. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about picking Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is known to be one of the worst movies ever made. But I thought that was a little too on the nose, so I went for something that's sort of tangentially connected. So Expect No Mercy had a Mortal Kombat style tie-in for the Windows 95. And as we know, every game released for Windows 95 was fucking amazing. I don't remember how I heard about this. I remember hearing about it a long time ago. I thought the movie sounded hysterical, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And I had checked a couple weeks ago, and it was on YouTube. So I got very excited, and I have saved it for this week because it is relevant, sort of.
That's a good reason why. Nice theme you got going on.
Yeah.
So let's dive into what the movie was about.
Okay. So
take it away.
I think you have a pretty good grip on exactly what this movie is about.
I was surprised because I was expecting this movie to be incomprehensible, and it's surprisingly coherent. So there's a villain named Warbeck, and he runs a virtual reality martial arts training center. Yes. And I'm trying to keep a straight face here because this is ridiculous. And it is a front for an assassination ring. Actually, now I think about it, I don't know how those two things connect to each other.
Well, basically,
I guess he's training assassins. Yeah, I guess that's the idea. But it doesn't seem like any of the students are aware of this happening, so I'm not really sure where the connection is. But I guess we lost in the subtext. I don't know.
Maybe there's like a select few, like
Yeah,
only the
could be
elite. He like pulls them
We
aside.
pick the best ones, and
Yeah.
then they become the killers. Yeah. So there's a plot for them to assassinate someone that's under witness protection. And our hero, Justin, played by Billy Blanks, goes undercover under this martial arts training camp with his friend Erik. I didn't catch that guy's name. He spoke with a really thick accent.
Eric?
No, the actor's name.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think I took like that.
I
I don't know.
have no idea.
That guy seemed really familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I think he might have been a terrorist in a Die Hard movie. And this was his one shot at the big one. He didn't quite make it. So they go undercover to uncover the plot, and they manage to hack into the system with the assistance of one working there named Vicky, who was played by
Laurie Holden,
Yes.
who is
Of Walking
Andrea
Dead
on
fame.
The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. And the plot kind of goes on from there. So I think we can kind of kick off and start talking about successes and failures because, boy, a lot happens in this movie.
So much.
This was a really dense hour-and-a-half movie we just watched, and I had a hard time going between successes and failures and what that actually meant in context to what I was actually watching right now because, I don't really have too many, so let's start with successes from you guys, and then maybe we can start a conversation.
I think the villains and henchmen in this movie were fucking awesome. Super memorable. It seemed like they were conceived by an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, an 8-year-old's just like, I'm going to make my own fighting game. And then like they just get like crayons out and they start drawing shit. And you end up with evil clown henchman that knows Kung Fu. And Fango, who's from Guar.
and some other guy from Guar.
Under my successes, I totally had the main goon Damien because I thought he was awesome. He had
great.
me at that first terrible pun. I was like, yes.
Yeah, he was excellent. I was looking forward to seeing his character throughout the movie.
He had the most evil 90s goatee. It was super well trimmed.
Pointy and devilish.
Very devilish.
He was unapologetically evil.
Yeah, I mean, even those bad guys and all the characters in this virtual reality game that they played were fucking excellent.
Yes.
They were all legit characters. Mm-hmm. They did a good job at that.
I really enjoyed. We could not figure out the reason for it, but we appreciate it nonetheless. The iguana henchman.
Yeah.
So one of the assassins was every time he shows up on a job, he brings this iguana with him, and he sets him aside on a tree or something. He's like, "You stay put now." He gives him a little kiss on the head. I was like, "Oh, that's
that
cute."
was Spider, right?
I think No, Spider was Billy Blanks' brother.
That was Alex, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the henchman named Alexander.
Yeah, his name was Alexander.
I was
right.
saying, I'm pretty sure I remember
Alexander the iguana henchman.
And then Spider was, Billy Blanks' so-and-so's relative.
Yes. Yeah,
Either son or nephew or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the villains in this movie were fucking great.
Ace villains.
So memorable, which I think can lead us into maybe one of the failures if we want to intermingle a little bit.
We can intermingle. Let's do it.
The leads have zero charisma in this movie.
Oh my god, terrible.
Billy Blanks and the guy that played Erik are just completely flat as a board. Nothing.
Yeah.
But you see, I had that as a plus, actually.
It was endearing, but it was a failure in
But
terms
the
of the
villain, I thought, was hilarious.
He was awesome.
Warbeck
he
was so funny.
Yeah.
And it was completely unintentional, but his delivery, like, it just alternated between him, like, bugging his eyes
Yes.
out or squinting them hard like he was taking a shit. And he screamed everything with zero emotion. Like, just screaming, but zero emotion.
It was
behind
nonsensical
If
what he
the
was saying.
government can't kill, how come I can't?
Exactly. I was like, this guy rules.
Yeah, one of the things tying into what we were talking about that I think is a failure is that I don't think anyone realized this was supposed to be an action comedy. Because everything about this movie was supposed to read like a joke, but I don't think no one was delivering it like a joke.
It was played straight. Like, I felt like we were watching Airplane in this genre of movie.
Yeah.
But like no one knew they were in Airplane. Everyone was totally being Leslie Nielsen in this movie.
Yeah,
Without realizing
it was
it.
so legit. Like there was the one character, Goldberg, the guy who they were trying to assassinate, was the only one who realized that this movie was an actual action comedy.
Yeah, the actor that played him did a great job.
He was awesome.
He was over the top and silly, and we always laughed.
He was like bugging his eyes out. He's like fumbling with a gun. He's like, how do I hold this? He was like running around with his arms literally flailing up and down.
I thought the fight scenes in this movie were pretty serviceable.
They're good.
Yeah.
They like weren't bad at all. I mean, there
right off
was
the bat.
way too many spin kicks, like you said,
Excuse
but
me. Too many?
too many.
Too many? Yeah,
Well,
you're right. There probably were too many.
Here's why there was too many, because that was the finishing move too.
Yeah.
So just like you expect a really cool finisher move, and you know, we didn't
then
get
it's
that.
just a spin
We just got a spin kick. We saw 100 of these.
And it wasn't the best spin kick.
No, it
because
wasn't.
we saw way better spin kicks in this movie than what we saw as the finisher.
Exactly.
And they set us up for the best spin kick we've ever seen in our life, and it was okay.
and it was just a standard spin kick.
Yeah.
So that was a failure.
Yeah, that's-
I
that's
just
impressive.
turned it a success into a failure. Sorry.
That-
Well,
the fight
no,
scenes
but
were
you know,
good.
that's so appropriate. I feel like this movie just is going to be like that. It's like an ebb and flow, because right next to fight scenes pretty sweet in my notes, I wrote Billy Blanks can't act. But regardless of that, it's still good. I mean, I don't think they hired him for his acting talent.
Oh God, no.
Exactly.
They hired him for his
I don't
Tybo
have
expertise.
a problem with that. Exactly.
Yeah, and this was right around when Tybo was on the rise, apparently, because he had been doing that for years and years, and then during the mid to late 90s, it started to escalate, right?
Yeah, I had no idea, but apparently he was doing it since the late 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we looked up on Wikipedia before we started to get some context for this, and we're like, wait a minute, he's been doing this since the late 70s, and it only blew up in like the mid 90s? Okay, I mean, color me surprised, but I guess good for him.
I know. I always thought it was like a recent thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was just like,
Oh,
okay,
new
Tybo,
fact.
My
this
parents
is
had it
obviously-
recorded on VHS tapes.
Yeah, let's put on our Zubas and do some Tybo.
So what else we got?
For pluses, let's see.
For whatever.
This movie has everything.
All right, like what?
It has car chases. It has man on fires. It has explosions. It has martial arts. It has virtual reality.
Yeah,
Got gunfights.
It has machine gun fights. It has pet iguanas.
It's got, yeah,
It has fucking clown goon.
virtual clown goon
And then it
to
had
you.
like a werewolf goon that was called Fango.
No, that was the Guar dude, yeah. It was,
Yeah, it was like a guar.
you can be a werewolf and you can be in gore.
Can you?
That's
I don't know.
He
I
had
guess
some
that makes
spiky padding. I buy it.
It's
But yeah, it had everything. Like everything you could want.
It's funny that you say that too, because I had that listed as a failure at first, and I'm like flipping back and forth. I was like, this movie didn't know what it was supposed to be doing, but at the same time, it did everything that it wasn't supposed to be doing. Pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, they
Like-
executed everything.
They used every cliche for like an action movie and delivered.
So good.
Yeah. Except for the virtual reality.
Oh, that looked awful. Like fuzzy.
I was gonna say, if that can bring us directly into failures,
Yes, that is. I have that listed definitely as a failure.
horrible graphics.
CGI was horrific.
Oh man,
It was not even anything.
the 3D was just like, I can't even talk about it.
Looked like fucking Star Fox.
Yeah,
Like-
on SNES.
Like all the cartoons I ever saw as a child on any channel looked a trillion times better than anything that was in this movie.
What's that show called? That was like was it Reboot?
Reboot, yeah.
Yeah, Reboot.
I have no idea what that
always looked bad to me
Until you saw
until this came into my life, and now Reboot looks like awesome.
it. Oh,
And like to touch on the virtual reality stuff too, like their virtual reality, like they actually fucked it up for themselves because the virtual reality effect was like put a lot of bloom on like the green screened actors against like a pre-rendered CGI backdrop. And I mean, I don't know if it looked that bad in the original cut, but I mean, this was, as we've talked about before, put on VHS, then ripped to YouTube, streamed to the TV. So there's a lot of opportunities for us to lose quality there. There's no way that looked good to begin with.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many things I want to know. Like when they're in the
Really?
when they're in the virtual reality thing, like, you know how it's overexposed every time,
Yes.
and everyone is just washed out white. Like, I'm sure a lot of that was YouTube, but most of it probably wasn't.
It couldn't have looked great. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have this fucking awesome technology, and it looks like that.
Right. They could have just put the actors into the shot. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
There's no reason to put that effect on
Like,
them
the
to make it look
background
futuristic.
looks perfectly fine. When the instructors were talking to them in the virtual reality like simulator, their heads were crystal clear. You could see them fucking perfectly. And everybody else is just a glaring white blob.
Maybe it was supposed to cover up some green screen problems they were having.
It could be
That's
because
a terrible choice.
I know we saw some sharp green screen in there, and you could see right through Billy Blanks. Like he
Yeah.
just blended into the green screen.
They were probably having some problems.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Actually, I want to swing back to Success for 1 second.
This is going to be one of those movies. I can tell.
I'd say everyone in this movie was really fucking cool.
I buy that. Yeah.
I just had it as everyone is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is so cool in their own way.
Everyone's like ripped. Everyone's got like their own costume that makes them just look good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the first day Billy Blank shows up for Academy, he's wearing a fucking windbreaker like sweatsuit with no shirt underneath, and it's only zipped up like 3 inches, so his bare like oily chest is like hanging out.
You missed the best detail of that. He intentionally unzips it before he shows up.
That's right.
And then he puts his hat on like backwards and sideways.
Like not all the way backwards. We're talking like cocked backwards. Like,
Yeah, like
get ready
45
for this
degrees.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, the wardrobe in this movie was atrocious, but amazing at the same time.
Well, like some of the weird things that were on, like Laurie Holden, like her like elbow
Dude,
pads
her
for
bicep
no reason.
pads,
Yeah.
they're not even elbow pads, they're on her bicep.
Oh, whoops.
Why? I'm sorry, I just
protect your
feel very
bicep.
strongly about this. I wrote down belly windbreaker and cyber bicep pads. It really did look like an elbow pad, like on her bicep, though, with a giant hole in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
And then Billy Blanks was wearing like a mesh shirt for a lot of it, and then she was wearing like a crop top Adidas like jogging suit, but it was tight, like it was something that Sporty Spice would have worn. I feel. Like it had like the stripes down the sleeve and like down the pant leg. Oh man, it was
Of the time.
it was some good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, was it? Of the time? Yeah, I guess it was.
Well, if you said Sporty Spice would wear it, then yeah, 95, Scream, Spice Girls. 96, 97.
It very much reeks of
98,
like. I think we're finally at the point where we can say, well, this is what the 90s thought the future looked like.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, for the longest time, we've always been like, this is what the 60s thought the future would look like, and the 70s and so forth. Now we finally have perspective like, this is what the 90s thought it would look like.
I feel like the epitome of what the 90s thought the future would look like is Lawnmower Man. Is that weird?
No, I
feel
can see that. This kinda
that
had that vibe.
weird- Yeah, it's just the same kind of vibe going on with
There
the
was kind of like that
CG.
obsession with virtual reality.
Yeah. It's like
Which-
now all of our electronics are just like compartmentalized now, and everything else pretty much looks the same.
And like virtual reality is coming back now, and no one cares. Like, we can do it, and like everyone's just like, yeah, whatever. It's the future. I don't give a fuck.
YOLO, man.
I have like that's the thing. I'm having such a hard time. We have the Samurai Cop conundrum here.
Yeah.
Because like everything I want to say is a success also kind of sucks about this movie.
Yeah.
Acting
Like-
was terrible.
Horrible.
But
but at the same time, it was so endearing.
It just told the story. It was like, okay, you guys suck, but whatever. Here, just make this work.
Read your lines.
Exactly.
The sets looked like fucking laser tag.
Yeah,
Like,
they
Yeah,
shot
they
this
did.
at United Skates of America.
United Skates of America, this awesome skating rink that we used to go to when we were kids. Field
Still
trips and
around.
shit. Oh yeah,
Still
It had,
laser tag.
rollerblading, laser tag, arcade.
It was awesome.
Lockers. They could have shot the entire thing there. I wouldn't have known the difference. The parts of it that wasn't shot there was shot in the fucking forest near the elementary school we went to.
Oh yeah,
And the rest of it was shot at like the Boston Museum of Science, like in the planetarium.
That's
If
perfect.
only.
But actually, this movie was shot in Canada, so that explains a lot about this movie.
Was
too.
it for sure?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was mostly in Ontario. I want to say.
I think that's correct. That's what the internet told me.
I didn't like how in the virtual reality training simulator that they were using, they kept like cycling through like weird periodic bad guys, I guess. You know what I mean?
The Halloween store is what you're saying. They kept fighting the Halloween store.
They were like, all right, now you're going to fight a Roman gladiator. All right, now you're going to fight a samurai. All right, now you're going to fight like a Native American.
Well, it was like
It was so weird. It was virtual Epcot Center.
It was. I mean, that was the. If you were playing a video game, that's the cast of characters you'd have to play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
true.
they were trying to like ape, like, okay, we're at an arcade. What are the characters in this
Yeah.
fighting game? Let's just we got clown, we got ninja, we got samurai. Okay, let's go to the fucking
Yeah, I
Claret
guess if
store.
you put it in that context, it makes way more sense.
That's what I
see
thought
what
it
they
was-
were doing.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, this is like really random. I don't understand.
No, here's the thing. You're a regular person, so that shouldn't make sense to you. I played video games for like 20 years of my life. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, clown guy. That makes sense.
Yeah. Like, that's the clown character.
All right, cool,
they
yeah.
have the.
Oh my God, his
the
terrible
boxer guy
laugh.
with dreads. and-
Oh my
It
god,
just
we had
froze.
oh yeah.
my favorite part of this movie, and it has nothing to do with the actual movie itself, really, is the fact that we had a fucking clown debate where Brittany had somehow missed like the clown showing up and just like tumbling onto screen and like laughing like a clown and being dressed like a clown. She's like, wait a minute, there's no fucking clown in this movie. You guys are fucking
Well, like,
pulling my chain.
No, there is.
There's definitely a clown.
Rewind.
And we rewound it, and she's like, "Is that a clown?" And then we're like, "I don't know. Is it?" Like, let's check again and again, and it was definitely a clown. As he's
While-
doing like front flips.
And he shows up out of nowhere. There's no introduction to him. He doesn't even get zapped into screen. He just appears.
Yeah, he just starts front flipping in laughing. It was pretty great.
Billy Blanks just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite parts. If we want to transition to favorite parts now.
I do have one more success before we transition.
All right, let's do it.
This movie makes coherent sense. Like, of all the movies that we've watched, most of them don't really have like a good A to B to C to D. Like, they don't really have like the this happens, therefore this happens.
Yes.
It's usually like this happens, this happened, this happened. I was writing down like the plot line to this, like just, so I could get my bearings when we first started. And like I was writing down like 5 major plot points. I was like, these all connect to each other pretty coherently, and there's like a good through line here.
Pretty fluid.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and same as Samurai Cop. Samurai Cop makes sense all the way through. You can follow that plot line, and that's kind of
yeah.
what makes it solid.
yeah.
So from a movie making perspective, I can give it credit for that. Most of the movies that we watch make no fucking sense, or we don't want to pay attention to it long enough to really care to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened in this movie. So I felt like it felt confusing at parts for me. There was so many characters.
Too many people.
Yeah, there was definitely they could
I
have trimmed
was
that a
like,
little bit.
everyone looks the same, and I don't know who anyone.
Yeah, a lot of the assassin henchmen, they were all dressed the same, so there was some definitely some run through on that. They were all black tank top, commando pants, some sort of harness.
But I feel like for how packed with stuff this movie was, it could have been easier to get more confused.
Yeah,
and like
agreed.
not follow the plot at all.
They had to have done something correctly.
Yeah.
For us to make any sense of this nonsense.
Agreed.
Totally. Favorite parts.
Favorite parts.
There's too many.
Oh, this is so great. I know Tom's been just chugging to do this.
Well, because this is yeah, I've been chugging. Well, because I mean, I feel like this is kind of all I had were favorite parts.
I can't blame you.
So I guess I will start if that's what I'm gonna do. And
Do it.
I would say the one of the bad guys, the head bad guy underneath our main bad guy, Damien.
Yep, goatee guy.
Yeah, the goatee guy.
Main goon.
Yeah, he went to some dude's office. I can't even remember the context of the scene.
Oh my god, I forgot
It
about
was
this.
the
Yeah.
lawyer for the guy that
That-
they had hired the assassin for.
Correct, right? So he goes to the lawyer to get some information, more information about
His
the guy he needs to kill.
whereabouts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he busts in there all dressed like a guy in a wheelchair with like a mustache. He takes all that stuff off. And then they enter into a torture scene with a gavel. Which was really well done, and he kept like breaking his fingers with the gavel. You didn't see it; you just heard it.
Yeah, less is more.
Yeah, and they did a really good job. He got the information he need, and then he says, "You're off the case," and he stabs him in the neck with the other end of the gavel. But they don't show that either. But they implied everything so well. And it was a great one-liner.
That was
the best
what hooked me. I was like,
best
whoa.
one in the movie.
Maybe the only good one.
The best one in the movie for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Telling a lawyer he's off the case and stabbing him in the neck.
That's a straight up like McBain line from The Simpsons.
That was also under my favorite parts. So
definitely one of my
glad
favorite
we
parts.
covered that one.
All right, so let's keep throwing stuff in. What else we got?
When the guy in witness protection, what was the other guy's name? Eric? When he busted in the door when they were looking for the guy in witness protection, and he had the gun up. Is his name Bertolucci?
The
No,
guy
that was the guy in the beginning.
Goldberg.
Goldberg is the guy in
Yes,
the witness protection.
Goldberg. Oh my God, kill me. Goldberg like points the gun at him and he's like, "I'm a cop," and then he just like fumbles the gun and he's like,
This guy has never held anything in his life.
He looks so bewildered. Oh my God, it was so funny. We were around it like 3 times.
It was so great.
That Goldberg guy makes me wonder, like, did they just drag that guy into set, not tell him they were shooting a movie, and like he just thought he was under witness protection, and like he was that scared?
He was that good, man. Where's the Oscar?
I also loved in the opening scene where they're at that guy's house, Bertolucci.
Probably.
Yeah,
This
that's
time,
the guy.
yeah.
The super
That's
Italian guy,
correct.
yeah.
And that one guy is like chasing the other guy, but you can't really see the guy behind him, and it just like slow-mos on this one goon's face, and he just looks like so terrified, and then you see the guy behind him jump into the air and like
Oh, yeah.
like a flying kick into like the back of his head. I was like, I am so on board for this movie.
Yeah, a lot of the intro fight scene stuff, which was partially impressive and hilarious all at once, and very gifable.
Oh, yeah.
Beginning.
Yeah, totally. It's hard for me to explain things from this movie because, like I said, there's so many characters, and I don't know anybody's name except for maybe like 4 or 5 people.
Like
The
our
principal
main
characters.
Yeah.
And this movie has like 30 characters.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's not a lot.
So, Eric, what do you have for favorite part?
I want to tie into the beginning again because the beginning was so dense with good shit. It had the iguana.
Oh, yeah.
Iguana guy made his introduction. We're like, what the fuck is this iguana henchman? Why is this happening? This movie's great already. Like Brittany said, slow motion kick to the back of the head. But my personal favorite at the beginning, Bertolucci, whatever that guy's name is.
The captain.
The captain.
Something
Captain Bertolucci.
I have something
Okay.
to say about that as well.
That's his name now, Captain Bertolucci. He's like hanging out at this mansion, and you know, classic like '90s kind of villainous bad guy. Walks out, he's wearing like a sweet like green robe. You know, goes out to the pool, sees his wife, starts making out with her, and then just one of his bodyguards just goes, "Damn, that's one smooth dude." I'm like, he didn't do anything. He's just kissing his wife.
It's because he had a banquet set up, but I don't know why. He had like a feast set up for 2 people.
He had a lot of disposable income.
It's true.
Smooth.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But I thought it was hilarious how when they were setting that first scene up so you could see what the people at the academy do, they were like, it's Bertolucci. People call him the captain because he's survived 8 assassination attempts. I was like, that makes no sense at all.
He's known-
Why would you call him that because of that reason? Like to have no correlation whatsoever.
He's sailing the ship of life. Therefore, he is the captain.
Like amongst the assassination community, he's known as the captain. Like all the assassins know, oh, that's the captain. Oh god.
They all go on Usenet and talk about the captain.
Captain Bertolucci.
Another one of my favorite
SS
parts
lifeboat.
is towards the end when they're doing like one of the last virtual battles or whatever, and then every single one of those bad guys we talked about show up, and they all just start beating up this guy, and it's just laser sound effects for punches. It's like, pew, 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 pew. All the sound effects in the virtual world were fantastic.
Oh, so good.
And my favorite part.
Every single punch that is thrown in any virtual reality scene just has a laser sound to go with it, and it just takes all the drama out of it.
It's so bad, but so good. It's just
Everything that sucks about this movie makes it great.
yeah, it's a grapple.
Oh yeah.
When
constantly.
Warbeck was screaming at Vicky was hilarious. But it's something that you really need a visual aid for, I feel.
Yeah, that's a scene that has to be seen.
Whoa, yeah.
Also, when Billy Blanks killed a goon in the last school brawl, but it looked like they were in a factory. Where the hell were they?
The boiler room, obviously.
Yeah, and he kicked the gauge off that steam thing, and it boiled that guy's face, and he was like, "Time for a steam cleaning."
It wasn't even that good either. I think you gave it better justice than that line than Billy Blanks.
It's time for a steam cleaning.
Yeah, that's about how emotive it was. It was pretty bad, but it was so funny. That was my second, probably the only other good pun line.
Yeah, only other good relevant one-liner. Every other one-liner I felt was just bad.
It was almost like Deadly Prey level, but not even as straightforward, so it didn't even work. It wasn't even as good as "You're gonna die."
I love Deadly Prey. Everything was, "I'm gonna kill you." Love it. What else do we have for favorite parts?
Final building explosion. Several men on fire.
Oh, yes.
We were awarded 3 or 4 men on fire. And usually we're happy if we just get one. This just set us up where so many dudes just twisted and flailing around, getting the flames going.
Oh, yeah.
And that whole explosion sequence was really well done.
And it was a lot.
Except for when it was cast over the actors that were running in the foreground of the shot.
Ugh.
That was real bad.
Lay a fire texture on top.
That's the weird thing.
Forget about the actors.
This movie didn't know when it could do something and when it couldn't. Because, we talk about the gavel scene, and they knew they couldn't do certain things in there, so they just didn't show it. And it worked. And then when they tried to do stuff they couldn't do, for example, an explosion, where in other places they could do explosions correctly, they somehow fucked it up. I feel like this movie was constructed by 20 different people working in separate countries.
There was one transparent explosion. It was just a blast of yellow light, but you could see right through it, and everything was just intact in the background.
It was like a GIF from a GeoCities webpage. That they got.
Oh, it was so bad.
Ugh. We have one more favorite part that I know I have, unless we have any more.
I also have one more.
Is it going to be the last? Is it going to be the closing sequence?
No.
Okay, let's get to the closing sequence after your favorite part, then.
Okay. I think we're all familiar with a move that action movies pull quite frequently, in which the hero will be running to his car, and then he'll cool guy slide across the hood so he can get in the car even faster because he has no time to waste. Obviously, he's too busy saving shit.
Oh yeah.
That happened in this movie. Only it was Billy Blanks full on front flipping across the hood of the car.
Fucking sweet.
And it was
but
so good.
smoothly.
Oh my god, that guy has 100% body control.
Oh
yeah.
my god, it was so perfect.
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine a faster way. I mean, that guy totally shaved 5 seconds off getting in that car.
Oh, it was
Just
good.
think how different this movie would be if he didn't do that front flip. Everyone would have died.
Yeah, I was saying he would have been 5 seconds behind. Everything would have got fucked up.
True.
I do have one more favorite part before we get to yours. There are several parts in this movie where someone falls off of a height, some sort of, several foot distance, and you see them
2 to 3 feet.
fall off frame, and then it just cuts to them with their leg kind of bent backwards in the same "I just fell" pose. This happens several times in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even. It's so angular. They were "Can I do my Fall Guy pose now?" Be like, "Yeah, go for it, Blanks. Have some fun."
Just make your body look as broken as possible,
I love Fall Guy pose.
even though you're going to be fine.
So I guess one more favorite part from me is going to be, and Eric, you're going to actually have to...
For all of us?
It's a group favorite
Okay.
part, which is usually what we like to end with. But it was the very end of the movie, leaving it open for a potential sequel. But Eric, you want to take it away with a little bit of dialogue?
All right, so just to set it up, Eric and Justin are hanging out at the sunset. It's very dramatic looking. It's a new day, new dawn.
Yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day.
I forget the exact setup for the line, but Eric just kind of goes, "Warbeck is a new breed of criminal, the cyber criminal."
And then he goes, yeah. Billy Blanks is like, yeah, it's all over now. Or, yeah, it's done. And then Eric's like, or is it?
And then they both look off into the
And they
distance.
look off into the sunset.
Credits.
Tracking into credits. So it was a really good ending. They didn't allow us to conclude ourselves this is an or is it ending. They had to tell us it was an or is it ending.
Cyber criminals are the future. Welcome to 2015.
I'll say, and they are more than right.
So, is there a sequel to this movie?
I don't know. Well, they did make the video game after, so I don't know if they had more cyber crimes in there.
That is not satiating to me.
The fact that they felt this deserved a video game tie-in is a cybercrime in itself.
That's what they were talking about. That's the cyber or is it? Poster for the game.
Oh, man.
All right, well, if we're done with favorite parts, then let's move on to ratings.
Let's rate it.
So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my god, my fucking father.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck yeah!
Fuck
yeah! Oh my goodness gracious. When I selected this movie, I didn't vet it. I was just like, okay, I read the synopsis. I looked to make sure it was on YouTube. I made sure the quality wasn't garbage. I usually vet movies like this at least a little bit.
Yeah.
If it's a blind pick, because I don't want to waste people's time. Especially after the last match. I'm never doing that to you guys ever again.
We've mentioned it for the last, 4 episodes.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I had to atone
We're
for myself.
scarred for life.
I feel like I've talked about that fucking movie every fucking day since I've watched it, and I don't want to give it the time, and I'm still giving it the time by talking about it right now.
Okay, well, cut it off. This is about a great movie. I was expecting this to be maybe like a forgettable, okay, this is like a silly 90s straight to VHS piece of crap. Might be kind of forgettable. This
Which
movie,
it was.
No, because it's not forgettable. This movie is memorable as fuck. There's a ton of shit happening. This movie is crazy dense. It actually makes sense, which I can appreciate. I could tell someone, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. I can explain the plot of the movie while giggling my ass off, but there's a coherence there. I don't know. I fucking love this movie. It was so much fun to watch. We were just laughing the entire time. Mm-hmm. I just got I'm surprised this doesn't have a cult following like Samurai Cop does.
It was just thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, it was, and I would give it a fuck yeah because I really wished I had seen this movie when I was about 8.
Yeah.
If I had seen this movie the year it came out, I would have been 8, and I would have fucking loved it. This is something I would have watched with Brad over and over again, and then reenacted it with my action figures. And then we would have had, this is something I would have rented over and over again. I'm a little upset at my parents for never renting this for me.
Stan's got a copy city.
I've been waiting.
It's locked up in his safe in the basement.
Yeah, don't ever show.
One of my only gripes that I failed to mention during the failures section was that the final fight scene went on way too long. When he was running through the school fighting goons, I felt like he fought 62 of them. It lasted forever.
Yeah,
But despite that,
I would say it did last a long time, but not a gross amount of time. It was manageable.
Yeah, this movie was never self-indulgent.
Yeah,
This movie knew what the audience wanted.
yeah, it was innocent. Why'd you give it a fuck yeah?
me,
Yeah, you.
because I already said it was absolutely enjoyable.
Well, that's it.
Completely.
Okay. That's good enough.
Yeah, pretty much all my
Fine.
pluses. It had everything.
I feel like, video game movies have a reputation for being fucking horrible. I can't even can you even think of any are there any video game movies that have a good reputation? I know the original Mortal Kombat kind of has a fan base.
I liked Resident Evil.
It's decent. Okay.
That one's done pretty well.
But
Silent Hill, but those are a little later on. Mm-hmm. You know?
But for the most part, they don't really have no one wants to see that. The people that like the games don't like them, and the people that like movies don't like them. I feel like this is kind of what a video game adaptation movie should be. If this was originally a video game and then they made this based on that game, fuck yeah, I'm in. This is amazing. This is what it should be.
Like Double Dragon a little bit, only not as wacky.
Well, if you rented this movie today, you'd be like, why was this not on the Sci-Fi Channel?
That's true.
I'm surprised it wasn't.
But
Might have been.
having an appreciation for this type of thing, yeah, totally.
It helps.
Total blast.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Totally recommended. If you
yeah.
want to just have a good time watching a movie and laugh and just be surprised the whole time at the ridiculousness that's going on, definitely watch this movie.
Yeah, it's a recommend.
It's on YouTube. You have nothing to lose.
It's the best kind of bad movie. I would say this is up there with Samurai Cop.
Wow, you'd hold it that high?
Yeah, I think this is one of the best B movies I've ever seen.
Wow. That's awesome.
am
It was
fan.
really enjoyable. Despite its flaws, it was a lot of fun.
I wonder,
It was.
I don't think it was incompetent. I think it knew exactly what it was doing.
I thought they went after what they know they could get. It seemed like, and for the time, I'm assuming the graphics they used weren't awful. I mean, this seems like something that was just for rent, right? It was just kids were renting this movie.
Yeah, it was straight to VHS.
I mean, actually, it was a bit violent for kids, but I would have liked to have seen it when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that was any more violent than the original Mortal Kombat movie. I mean, that was a PG-13, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I mean, aside from some blood, this wasn't really that terribly violent.
Yeah. I buy it. So yeah, totally recommend it. And so we're going to wrap it up now.
Let's wrap it.
You've been listening to Second Class Cinema. We watched the movie Expect No Mercy, 1995, Billy Blanks. They actually said it in the movie, which you know how much I love. Everything's got to be like an AC/DC song.
Virtual reality assassin
Martial
ninjas.
arts with guns.
Yeah, it had everything you could want. Just look it up. You can find us on Facebook if you'd like more information. Facebook.com/secondclasscinema. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We're on a lot of places. And you can just search for us, Second Class Cinema. You can email us, secondclasscinema@gmail.com.
Give us suggestions for movies.
Yeah. We love suggestions. We've watched some people's suggestions. We review them.
They've mostly been horrible, but, keep trying.
I really want to do Wolf Cop.
We do need to do Wolf Cop.
We've had this magnet on our refrigerator since we went to this horror convention in October, and we've just been waiting, and now it's on Netflix, and so many people have told us to watch it.
Yeah. We should just get it done.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, maybe that can be our group pick.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
We want to squeeze it in
the near future.
Give it a little squeeze.
All right. Well,
thanks for listening.
We're done. Thanks a lot.
If you made it this far.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah, as soon as you heard our rating, you should have just gone ahead and watched this movie. Get out of here.
Yeah, all this is
What
garbage.
are you doing still listening to us?
I think Warbeck was only the first in a whole new breed of criminal, the cyber criminal.
Now it's over.
Or is it?